Another day of terrible news for Facebook. Shares tanking 7% after the District of Columbia's Attorney General sued the social media giant for allowing Cambridge Analytica to take data from users. This comes after a damning report in the New York Times this morning saying Facebook gave other tech companies access to the personal data of users without disclosing it. That includes allowing Netflix and Spotify, for instance, to read private Facebook messages and giving Amazon data as well. For more on what this latest scandal could mean for Facebook, let's bring in Loup Ventures founder and Fast Money friend, Gene Munster. Gene, great to speak with you. I get that Facebook is caught up in this sort of vortex, and one should be very careful about these headlines. But at the same time, this really underscores from an investor standpoint that there are shoes to drop left and right when it comes to this stock.
That's exactly right, Melissa. Our goal is really to try to fight through this noise, and the easy thing to do is to be negative on Facebook. But the reality is there are some structural problems here, and there's essentially three layers to them. The first layer is around this compliance issue, the governance issue we're seeing with this District of Columbia lawsuit, potential more political weight in terms of how they do business. The second issue is just the simple erosion of faith that people have with, has Facebook done right for them in terms of their privacy data? And then this third wave, which really hasn't even started, which is, does Facebook and Instagram make the world a better place? Ultimately, most people don't feel better about themselves after they use these networks because the comparison effect. And so I think that the best days of Facebook, unfortunately, are behind them. And I think we're going to start to see that in some of the user growth numbers in the months and quarters to come.
So it is the season, Gene, and people like to make bold predictions at this time of year for the next year. What would be your prediction for Facebook management? I mean, would you say that Sheryl Sandberg, for instance, is still the COO at the end of 2019? Do you think Mark Zuckerberg will still and I get that he's controlling shareholder, et cetera, but he could easily say, you know, I will be chairman, or I will take some other position that affords there to be sort of a slate wiped, so to speak, when it comes to this scandal?
Unlikely we're going to see executive level changes, especially at those two roles. I think that they are more demonized in these type of situations. I think they are what is best for the company. We are going to make some predictions, our 2019 predictions coming out on December 26th. So I want to hold off on telling all the details, but I think there are some things that are going to happen in Facebook in terms of their underlying business in 2019 that may surprise investors.
Hey, Gene, this is Peter Jerian. Quick question for you about Facebook. You said it's a no-touch, basically, right? Here's the thing I'd like to bring up to you, though. March 2018 is when the headline started. Virtually every week since then, we've had a negative story headline about Facebook. If a quarter goes by without the negative headlines coming out, does it start to become a potential buy at that point?
I think the bulls are definitely going to be there. I could see this stock moving higher based on what you described. And separately is I think that there's some untapped opportunities around WhatsApp, what they're doing in VR. Also, Instagram has room to grow. But to me, that's just trading around this. I think ultimately, from an investing standpoint, is that there are some structural issues, some issues about how it impacts society that can weigh on the story longer term. And so I would consider that essentially a head fake if it did trade higher.
Just one word from you, Gene, here, because we're out of time. But the changes to Facebook's business, for the good, for the bad?
They're for the good is a simple word, but it's just too little too late.
All right. Gene, thank you. And thanks for giving us a tease on your predictions. Gene Munster of Loup Ventures.
Thank you.
We had Facebook yesterday, and I handed it to you for
This is one of my trade-its. This is the only trade-it that I had.
This was your very sort of, you know, for the short term, I'll do this, but longer. I mean, so you really had it both ways.
This one I thought was a fade longer term, but I thought it was a trade it, meaning buy it. Shorter term based on the corporate repurchase that they announced. Right. And if you look back, someone's got to get me the exact date, but I still think it's probably still above where they announced that corporate repurchase. So hopefully it holds that level check, because I don't have the exact number. That will be your line in the sand when to bail again. But obviously the future for Facebook with privacy issues is not, to Pete's point, is not going away.
It's pretty bold for Gene to come and give us this whole list of reasons why things are going against Facebook, structural problems, and to say that the best days are behind it. Does that mean that the best days for the stock are behind
I think the best growth days.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people would acknowledge the best growth days are behind it. But
and
I think
in
terms of all the businesses they've acquired and where they can go in the future, I think in terms of that, I think the best days lie ahead. I would take the other side of Steve. I think it's a short-term fade. I think 125, we talked about a couple weeks ago as a potential level. It's 131, 132 now. That's in the crosshairs. But longer term, I mean, if you have sort of the temerity to stay with this thing over the next couple months, which is going to be dicey, temerity. That's a bad haiku word. I think the long term, listen, I don't think you'll ever see the growth that they once had, but I do think there are a number of businesses that are going to be huge drivers in the years to come.